Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with my lovely co host, PK. How are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely fabulous. I'm trying to decide, is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain? It's
Oh,
overcast and it's windy as heck. And the trees are in bloom and they're killing me.
oh no.
Allergies are absolutely crazy right now.
Oh gosh.
You
Well,
can do
that's
about it.
miserable. You must enjoy the color out there.
Oh, it's gorgeous to see, except you can't breathe and your eyes do nothing but scratch. It's fun. But the
Oh
trees are
no. Hey, I wanted to just ask everybody if you would please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on X, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We are there, especially on TikTok. We're making a big splash there. So make sure that you are following us. We're going to be doing some lives, we're going to be doing some moments where we give you great information apart from the show. But we welcome you to join us on all of that media and contact us if you want. If you're looking for a particular subject to be discussed or author that we should
sure.
bring on the show, or if you have a paranormal experience you want to share with all of us,
Mhm.
we're going to have a whole show about that. People coming on and sharing what crazy, weird stuff has been happening to them. There's been a lot of stories going around, a
Oh,
lot
for
of
sure.
Bigfoot sightings, a lot of Mothman sightings, many things. So we want to hear from you. Make sure you get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to have you on the show. So, PK, what are the numbers dancing to this
Oh,
month?
tomorrow we go into a new month and it's all about major changes. So
Good.
April is going to be about change, change, and more change.
Oh, my.
And there's also a luck factor that goes with all this change that's coming up. So
Good.
don't be afraid. But one thing though, the 5 month is about speed and doing things in a hurry. So watch it. If you put your pedal to the metal, you may end up being like Tiger.
Uh-oh. Don't want to do that. It was very bad.
Be careful.
Yeah, be very careful. Oh, my goodness. Yes. But I
Mhm.
like the luck factor. Time to play the lottery again, huh?
Definitely take a look and just don't be afraid of it. There's something special. Anytime we deal with major changes, good to bad, bad to good, but change nonetheless always seems to be to our benefit when we allow it.
Okay.
So think of
Yeah.
change is the number five. If you feel like playing the lottery or if you feel like doing this, hey, what's a buck or two, right? You might
Yeah.
win.
Well, hey, on our YouTube site, we also have a meditation with a Grabavoy number for creating instant money, 4610567. So go take a listen to that before you go to sleep or first thing in the morning. And there
Mm-hmm.
you go. You're setting it in place to receive unexpected money. Again, that's on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. So we have a great guest tonight.
Yes, we do.
He really, now you missed him last time, but he blew my mind when he was talking about the crop circles. We are going to get back to that. But let me
Right.
tell everybody else, in case you missed this, we had F.K. Sterling on previously talking about his new book about giants. But tonight we have a whole nother topic. So let me tell you this, he is a writer, an independent researcher whose work examines the intersection of history, science, and unexplained phenomena. He was raised in the Ozarks and developed an early interest in regional folklore, ancient mysteries, and the stories that persist at the edges of accepted knowledge. He has two books we're going to be talking about tonight, and these are absolutely wild. So, Amanda, if you could put them on, let's take a look at the covers of these books. We have Alien Harvest, and that is going to be, I think, our main book we're talking about tonight. But we also have Ancient Ozarks. So, FK has been researching this stuff for years. He is the man in the know, and I'm sure he's going to blow our minds again. So, FK, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Great to have you. So, the Ozarks is your home, and it sounds like you've made it your mission to find out every secret that this area has to share.
Oh, yes. And there are many, 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 many mysteries and strange places. The borderline between the two worlds, as I see them, is gossamer thin in this area. And these hills are as ancient as you can get. I mean, they go back far beyond the time of the original white settlers, way even further than the indigenous tribes, to some unknown, forgotten culture which once made this place its home.
It is. It is. And now there's so many mysteries to talk about. And you've got two great books here. Last time we talked about giants. Where do you want to start?
Well, we could start with Alien Harvest.
Okay.
That book, to me, it's one of my scariest books because it has some really grotesque descriptions in it. I mean, we're talking about cattle mutilations and in other circumstances, what I call cattle freezes, in which cattle are discovered in suspended animation. They're just sitting there. Yeah, they're alive, but they are not moving, and they are incognizant of anything around them. They are just frozen in time, right before your eyes. Others, like the typical Skinwalker Ranch cattle mutilations. We have egg-shaped UFOs hovering above Table Rock Lake. We have, of course, the crop circles and the beings or the bobbies who come in and out of the cornfields. And, of course, as you remember, the human DNA that was found in the crops and growing out of the crops would appear to be human-like fetuses growing out of the crops.
That is so crazy. I love hearing these weird things, but I want to know more. I mean, and I asked you this last time. Did anybody manage a photograph, a video, anything?
No, but it's one of the urban legends around this area, and people talk about it, whether it's hardware stores or banks or the local coffee shop or the general store. I mean, anywhere. I mean, we're a very tight-knit community. People have been here for generations. Everybody knows who your granddaddy was, who your granddaddy's daddy was. It goes way back when people go to the bank, they want to talk about everything, about what their grandkids are doing, about how their chickens are doing. And of course, the woman at the cashier, you've got 6 people in line and she's got to go and talk this over with every old lady who comes up the pike to get her stuff. So that's just kind of a community we're in. Okay, we're in Mayberry.
That's great.
But when you go to get your hair cut, they have Andy Griffith playing on the television screen.
Wow. Well, I'm really surprised, though, that your local newspaper hasn't sent people out to investigate this because it's such a wild story.
They're pathetic. They really are. They're more interested in covering the nuances of meth heads being arrested than they are doing anything substantial, anything controversial. All they want to do is hash up people's lives, and I feel very sorry for those people.
Gee, that's too bad, because we would love to see an investigative piece on this where they're actually.
Well, maybe that's something that I should do.
I think that's a great idea. Go do that.
Maybe before the show started, you and I were talking about me actually doing a book solely on the bobbies and this human DNA in the crops, and maybe that would be something to do. Or maybe I should get Linda Moulton Howe involved in it with me, and the two of us should go ahead and do this.
Yes.
Yeah. Something. Hey, Linda, I'm just offering.
Oh, she is such a force. She really is.
Yes,
such
she
a
is.
force.
She's quite a researcher. She really is.
Incredible work she has done all her life. And it would be great if she wanted to come take a look at these crop circles out in the Ozarks. But when you talk about bobbies, can you give us more of definition? What is that?
Well, they're, possibly extraterrestrials. They seem to, back in the day before we had a concept of extraterrestrials, they were linked to like leprechauns. Well, that sounds a lot like the little gray people we see traveling around in UFOs. So I would say they are extraterrestrials. They are the little gray aliens we are so familiar with.
Okay. So it's more like
And they're coming out of these crops late at night. And somewhere, I don't know where it was, I swore I saw something on YouTube where they were following some type of gray entity coming out of one of these crops. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I'm sure I've seen it on YouTube. I'd love to get back with it and see if I could find it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I posted it on Ancient Ozarks. And that, by the way, I do want to say you had a little spiel about people coming to look at you on TikTok. I definitely want to make a spiel about my site and my Facebook accounts, and especially my X accounts, because it's suffering right now. And if people could go to @Ancient Ozarks on X and join, it would help me in getting the word out there more about my books on X. So that's something I'm really pushing right now.
Well, we'll be sure to follow you there.
Definitely.
Now, with these amazing stories that you have, do you feel that there's any one that is particularly concerning or frightening?
Well, I definitely think the idea that we're being farmed by extraterrestrials, or whether they're extraterrestrials or ultra-terrestrials, the fact that average human beings are being used as harvest material is very alarming. In fact, when the book begins, it's talking about that. See, in Alien Harvest, it's told by an investigator, and he's basically A, talking about his own experiences, and B, about his investigation of other people's encounters, which were prompted by his encounter. So he's talking about this copper taste in his mouth that lasts just 40 days. He says, not 39, not 41, exactly 40 days. And how the blood foams in the mouth, and how it goes to the back of his skull and behind his eyes, and he hears a humming sound for 40 days that doesn't go away, and how he just feels like something other than human was investigating his mouth, had its fingers in his mouth, in his body, how he felt violated, how he felt uncomfortable in his own skin for that 40 days, and how he had this lapse of time. So it wasn't just this disorientation you often hear about alien abductions. It was a very visceral, very physical experience that was quite otherworldly. And then at the same time, he's noticing like fillings in his teeth, which were done by a dentist, suddenly were filled in with materials that don't seem to come from Earth.
In his
teeth. And that dentist can't even figure out what it is, that he has these odd things on scars on his arms, and that other people who experience this also have the same experiences, the same symptoms, if you will.
Amazing.
So you call it farming. Tell us all, what in the world are they doing? They're farming us. They're trying to recreate us or clone us, or what are they doing?
Well, that's anybody's guess. I mean, unless they tell us themselves, we're not going to really know what they're up to. At least the common people don't know what they're up to. Maybe the government does, but we definitely don't. Now, what I would assume is that somehow their race, if you will, is not propagating the way it wants to. So it's simply wanting to bring in fresh genetic material to continue the bloodline, or maybe use us as a way to modify the bloodline, to create a hybrid race that would, in essence, be able to carry on where their own biology wouldn't. Because maybe we, as a species, have a young, fresh biology. Well, their race is worn out genetically, evolutionary wise, and they know they're coming to a dead end for their society. But maybe reinvigorating their people with fresh DNA, maybe that's part of the plan.
Yeah, or like you were saying, maybe creating hybrids. Because we have had people on the show. Oh God, I know his first name's David. He was a professor. Remember this one, PK? He was a professor at a university, I think in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
And he was a while ago. He came across these people who talked about being abducted and then being abducted a second time to come back and help them raise these hybrid babies. And he was absolutely convinced from the people that he worked with over this whole thing that it was very real. This had been going on for a long time, that the aliens, the ETs, were creating hybrids. And the problems that they were having was they could not, humanize them.
But they couldn't socialize them is the thing.
Humanize.
Could you imagine a hybrid being born? It would have a very hard time relating to just aliens. They would need that human element to feel whole. A human baby has needs that a gray alien can't provide.
True.
But another human could.
Right. Yes, so they could kidnap them and brought them back to help them with that. So there were a lot of stories that he had about very compelling cases that he had on this. So hearing that there might be another farming attempt or hybrid creation, it seems to fall right in line with this.
Yeah, and there's been tales of airships for a long time, way going back to the Gilded Age after the Civil War. These airships, that's what they called them. They were UFOs, but back then they had no concept of spacecraft. So to them, the easiest thing to relate them to would be airships, like a Zeppelin. And people were very concerned, like, which country is sending these airships and what are they doing here? So the government actually got involved in it, and especially the state government of Arkansas and also Texas started passing laws that forbade any aircraft from traveling over certain areas of the land in these states, thinking they were human controlled. Because again, they probably didn't have any real notion of extraterrestrials either. Probably because they just didn't think that was possible. And they gave a more grounded earthly explanation. But it was a closed-minded explanation because they didn't have the full idea of the way the universe worked yet,
Right. Yeah.
With a plurality of worlds. I mean, in just the past 20 years, the amount of exoplanets we've discovered is amazing. Thousands of exoplanets outside our solar system. Numerous star systems, numerous planets that could harbor life. And it just keeps growing as far as that's concerned. There was a German scientist who is actually thinking more in lines of creating what he calls the Genesis device, named after Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay.
In which it would send a small craft, a very small craft, close to the speed of light, to one of these alien worlds that have a primordial ocean, and seed that ocean with life that then could evolve, and over like a period of 1 million years, we could send out colonists. It would take us 1 million years to get there. So by the time we get there, we have a planet filled with life ready to receive us. So that's really, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What is it about the Ozarks? Do they have a lot of portals there? Do they have a very
I talk about that in my new book, that it's one of those areas where the domain between the other realm, if you will, and this realm is gossamer thin. That this is like one of the prime spots, these intersections between what you could call myth and reality. Myth being the supernatural realm, the realm of fantasy, and where all our traditions about gods and goddesses and the supernatural are based. Not really myth, but what they're based on in our own world of mortals. And it is between this intersection that one can cross to and fro. And I'm thinking that the Ozarks is just one of those areas. I mean, if you've ever been out here at night, especially out in Newton County and among the hills, and it's midnight and you're all alone, it can be a very intimidating and scary experience if you've ever been to Lost Valley at night, which I have, especially out by the caverns, the bluffs.
Have you
Scary experience.
Have you had any missing people?
Yes, we have.
So I don't know if David Paulides has followed the Ozarks and marked it as one of the areas for these types of disappearances for missing 411. Do you know if he found a lot of people that have gone missing? He didn't find them, but he knew that they were missing in your area in Ozarks.
Yes, there has been. There has been. And some people, I mean, I've known someone whose daughter disappeared for some time, and then they found her at the bottom of a ravine dead. Oh. And they don't know how she got there. Well, I asked the questions, how did she get there? Did she get there because she just fell? She was supposed to be on a bus going to school. Why was she out there in the woods at the bottom of a ravine? For what reason? There was no sign of foul play. No one pushed her there. She was just there. And why? And how?
And right. So, and what was the mile distance from where she was supposed to be to where they found her body? How many miles away?
It was several miles away. And it was in an area that she had no business being. So I wonder, did someone take her? Did someone then put her there? Was it an alien abduction? Was it one of these circumstances where she just passed through? When she came out, that's how she ended up.
It's quite, it's an amazing mystery.
How long a period between the time that the individual was missing until she was found?
It was a week. It was a week.
A week. I didn't know it was a matter of days or.
So everybody, of course, was afraid of a human abduction, and in a foul play. But then everybody was relieved when the coroner said there's no evidence of foul play. They investigated the whole area. There was no sign that she was running. There was no broken leaves. There was nothing. All there was a body laying at the bottom of a ravine as if she just fell asleep, and that was it.
How old was she?
14.
14. That sounds unusual, doesn't it? What 14 go wandering into the woods when they're supposed to be at school?
Yeah.
How devastating for the parents. How sad.
It was. I mean, I'm very close to the woman. She's a good friend of mine. She's been a friend of mine for many years.
Gosh, awful. There's so many hunters also that have talked about they've come to a place in the forest where everything goes dead quiet. And some of them have talked about putting their foot through a portal and it disappears and they pull their foot back really quickly.
Yeah.
Run like hell out of there. But so there are hunters that are going around in the woods and they encounter these kinds of things. Some of them may be bold enough to try to step through and then we never see them again.
Yeah.
Or we may see them like this poor teenager just dead on the other side of it. Yeah. It's such a mystery with these portals, and they can be quite dangerous. So,
and then we have the Sasquatch traditions in this area too.
About Sasquatch there.
We have a big tradition out here. In the old days, they just called them blue man. Blue man.
Blue man. Oh,
blue man. Yeah, and now they've adopted the term Sasquatch from the northwest rather. But Bigfoot usually. And There's just, I mean, I was just talking to Todd Neese. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's a big witness of a sighting up in the Northwest, Bigfoot
Yep.
researcher and close friend of mine. He said that, I mean, when he first came here, he was talking to an old-timer, and he says just right up the street, there's a bluff, and there was a Bigfoot standing right there just a few weeks ago. And so when you're driving down the street, you look on all sides, you'll see little Bigfoot cutouts every time you turn around on the side of the road because he's so popular. Now we're having a Bigfoot conference here.
Are you?
Second, squashing at the Gap, and we're going to have food vendors and music and top Bigfoot people presenting.
Yeah.
I'm going to be presenting. I'm going to be doing a book signing. So it's going to be quite an event. So
when will that be?
That's going to be May 1st and 2nd, 2026.
Coming right up.
Good to know.
At the Gap. It's a resort. You can go online or on Facebook. It's posted there. It's also posted on my Facebook group, Ancient Ozarks, as well as my Facebook profile, FK Sterling.
Wonderful. Well, now what about the stories with Bigfoot in your area? We've heard that some of them can be nice and some of them can be not so nice.
Well, as far as I've heard, the Bigfoot in this area kind of follows the old Native American interpretation. It's kind of like the forest guardian, the guardian of the unknown, someone who's protecting more or less than being showing any animosity or aggressiveness. It's more of a positive type figure. I'm not getting any vibes of it being necessarily violent unless it feels it's threatened, just like any animal would. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't believe he's seeking out to harm anybody. I think he wants to defend the forest and the tradition and the people who belong here. And if there are invaders, if there are people here that wish others harm, he's the first to come out and fight for them.
Okay. Have you encountered a Bigfoot?
No, but I'd like to.
You'd like to, yeah.
No, I'd like to. That's why I keep going to Lost Valley. I'm hoping I'll run into one. So.
Oh gosh, yes. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Well, and we've heard some people have had a wonderful. There it is, watching at the Gap. Thank you, man.
That's it.
That's terrific. This looks like it's going to be great. What do you make of the fact, FK, that just recently there have been so many public sightings that have been reported? There's been an unusual amount. What's going on?
Well, I kind of believe that we're slowly entering a new epoch, and that many of these mysteries are coming to the forefront. That we're entering a time in history where everything that has been held back for the past few centuries is going to finally be disclosed, and there's just going to be a vast awakening, and all the powers that be will come to the forefront. And I think Sasquatch is part of that. I think it's linked to the UFOs. I think it's linked to other paranormal experiences. And I think it's linked to this idea I have of the ultra-terrestrial and parallel universe, which I think is right next to ours. And then our reality is mixing with that reality. And I think the great convergence is about to happen where both realities open up as one. And I think that that's really what's going to happen, where the Adamu is going to finally realize its true place in this universe.
Well, that'll change a few things, won't it?
It will.
Sure.
I hope it will. It's a very exciting time. There's been a lot of prophecies coming up around the Easter holiday, what's supposed to happen. One of them was from one of our guests, actually. What's the gentleman's name? He's been talking about the Mother Mary for quite some time and making predictions and saying something is going to happen on Easter. So sounds like we've got a lot of excitement to look forward to.
Yes, there is a lot of excitement.
What else have you encountered in the Ozarks? We've let's talk a little bit about Bigfoot. We've talked a little bit about the UFOs now and the ETs, the Greys. What else have people reported?
There's other things too, like ghosts.
I want to know. Oh, ghosts there.
Yeah,
Okay.
ghosts. In fact, I just completed a book on ultra terrestrials and parallel universes and things like that. And just as I completed it today, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back and do a whole chapter on ghosts. It really needs to be said.
Oh.
And Eureka Springs is the location in the Ozarks for ghosts. We have the Crescent Hotel #1, which is the most haunted hotel in not only in Arkansas, in the Ozarks.
What happened there that makes it so haunted?
We had haunted jails and underground caverns that are haunted in Eureka Springs. Well, there was a lot of things that happened at the Crescent Hotel, a lot of bad things. There was a mad scientist who were performing unsafe operations on cancer patients.
Oh, God.
A young girl was killed, and there's just multiple legends of horrible things that happened at this hotel. It's a very old hotel dating back to Victorian times. And so it's been around for a long time. And you go there and you just know right from the get-go that it's got a force. The interesting thing is I grew up in a haunted house when I was young. I grew up in an old house. Was built in 1912. And the minute you enter that house, you felt a presence.
Ooh.
Especially where I worked. At the upper floor, there was a closet. And if you ever went to the back of that closet, it's like, hello.
You could see an apparition. You could actually.
You can see it, but you could feel it. You could just feel like there's someone right there behind you. And you turn around and there's nobody there.
Right.
And then we have chairs that would rock by themselves when there's no wind. You hear knocking and there's nobody there, and there are footsteps. It was a very scary experience. And I was young, so I got really morbid and really upset.
What about your parents?
My parents had to move because it was upsetting me so much.
Oh my gosh. Did they ever have the same feelings you had?
Yes,
they
very
did.
much so.
Oh, they
and
knew.
We were warned when we bought the house that it was haunted.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Exciting life. So
yes, it was.
All of this.
Yeah, it was. It was something else, I tell you.
So you have ghosts, and there's an actual area where most of them are seen. And what else?
Well, our neighbors, the Suches, now they claim that many times they saw a UFO land on our property when we weren't around, and that there was a plank that came down and extraterrestrials walked out and were walking all over our property, investigating, and they would get back in the UFO and take off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so Suches, they were a very interesting family. They were primarily Native American. I can remember going over to their house, and they had a lot of Native American carvings. And I'd sit with them, and when I was a little boy, and they tell me all kinds of Native American stories. And it was a very interesting family to visit, especially when you're a young man, just learning about the world.
What is the reason that you think they came to your property? Because they don't do it randomly. So what?
I don't know. And that's just according to the Suches, because we never saw anything. But they swore they saw them. So I don't know.
Because they're usually drawn to places that have a high magnetic.
They either saw it or they were just drinking too much one night. I don't know which.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because usually they're looking for a high magnetic reading and water underneath the property. Did you have water? Fresh springs?
Yeah, we did have water.
Oh.
Plenty of water. And we had woods behind us. And we used to go hunting there. I think I told you about that the last time we talked. My incident with the skunk ape.
Oh gosh. So
Remember?
we have a question for you also.
Samuel,
you
his
ready?
incident, his accident, so to speak, with his leg. Do you remember?
No.
No, I don't.
He got in a scuffle with a skunk ape and lost his leg. Do you remember
You're
that?
talking about your brother, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I didn't make the connection with the skunk ape because you were talking
Yeah.
about it as a Bigfoot. And so that's what was stuck in my head is
Yeah,
that
well, the same thing. It's just
injured.
in Florida, it's called a skunk ape.
Okay. That
Yeah.
he suffered a very traumatic and serious injury that is with him forever. I mean, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Why
And
did
of
you
course,
why
the
do you think
people
you
there, want to say, "Oh, it's just probably a hog or a bear or something else."
Oh, my.
no something that could do that
We
kind
knew
of
it was something else, and
Why
my
do you think
parents
that the skunk ape
believed
did
it was
that?
something else.
Hmm.
It's just
Why,
that we
though?
were aggressive to it, and it was fighting back.
You
we
were
were
aggressive
afraid
to
of it. We were aggressive because we were afraid of it,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we had guns and we shot at it.
Oh, you shot at it. Okay,
And
now
so did Sam, and he shot at it. So when it got hit, that's when it went after him.
well now I understand it a little bit better.
That
That is
goes to it.
yeah, that is horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, you said your brother doesn't harbor any resentment about it.
No,
That's amazing.
he knows it's a wild animal in his view, and he has utmost respect for wild animals. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
you don't
there's
you don't hate a wild animal for simply being a wild animal.
Yeah.
If it was a person, it's a different story, but not a wild animal.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you think aliens are as interested in ghosts as they are in living human beings?
I think they know a lot more about ghosts than we do. Let's just say that.
Okay. Well, it makes sense because they travel the dimensions. It's one of the things they're known.
And that's essentially what ghosts are. They're not apparitions as much as they are just people caught in other dimensions who for a short period of time make the transition to our world. But they are ghosts in the sense that they're not fully here. They're only partially here. Ever seen that Twilight Zone episode where the girl goes into the fourth dimension? It was called The Girl Lost. And they could hear her voice all over the place, but they couldn't find her. And and then they put their hand through the wall and it just disappeared.
And then
that's kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then finally the dog went in there because the dog was freaking out because it could sense that something was there. Then the father goes and it kind of shows the world they're in. And finally they get out and then it just closes. And if they were just 1 second sooner, it would have closed and they would have been trapped.
Yes. Rod Serling was an incredible genius, way ahead of his time. I mean, my God. He was amazing. He was just amazing. He died fairly young, I think in his 50s.
Yeah, he was a brilliant man. He
was just an amazing storyteller. The ideas he came up with were
yes.
Nobody could touch him even today.
Like The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street was my favorite episode.
Which one? The Monsters?
Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
Oh, refresh our memory. What was that one about?
Well, that was about where they're all like in a really lily white neighborhood. The kids are running around with a good humor truck, and suddenly they hear something go overhead, and they're like, "What was that?" And then eventually they say, "Well, maybe it was an aircraft or something." And then all of a sudden, everything in the town goes off. Everything.
Wow.
Every moving thing goes off. And so then this other guy says, I'm going to go over to the other neighborhood and see if it's that way there too. And then he says, Mr. Charles, you shouldn't go there because they don't want you to go there. And they said, who doesn't want us to go there? Them. You see, that's the way it is. In every story I hear about an alien from outer space, they come with a mother and a father and 2 children, and they look exactly like you and me, but they're not you and me. They're different. and they're really infiltrators. So now you're bringing in this communist, McCarthy area type stuff. And so they start accusing everybody of being that family. And in the end, they kill themselves off out of fear and prejudice.
Yeah,
and up at the top of the hill, the aliens are sitting there, and they're like, man, this Maple Street's not unique. And the other alien says, no, sure isn't. That's the way they are. They look for the most worst enemy. You know what? It's always themselves.
Yeah.
All we have to do is go from one town to the next, turn their stuff off, put them in darkness for a few hours. They'll kill themselves off.
Yes, I remember that now.
And then the ship takes off, and then Rod Serling comes on and says, sometimes the end of the world doesn't begin with bombs and armies. Sometimes it's done with just prejudices, hatreds, racism, the dark parts that are deep in the human soul.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was just so smart. I mean, he was just so brilliant.
He really was. I miss that always, that twist. He was just so good. There's nobody that can touch him even today. I'm sorry, but there isn't. Even though there
were things he wanted to talk about that you just couldn't talk about on TV then.
Right.
He wanted to touch on, and things he did touch on that they said, "Oh, you can't have that back on there." Like the one where a Japanese American comes to work for this guy who was a World War II veteran who fought in the Pacific. And it's actually George Takei from Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
And so he comes up there, and of course, there's got to be a lot of racialization and conflict between the two of them. And he keeps calling him boy and all that type of stuff. And in the end, Japanese American kills him with a sword, his own sword, that was his grandfather's sword, that he took when he killed him. And then he just jumps out of the window and says, "Banzai!" and jumps out the window and kills himself. So it was a very explosive episode.
Yeah, somebody was just saying that episode was banned.
It was. For a long time. You never saw it.
I don't even know if I've ever seen that one. But anyways, Rod had it right. And we missed that kind of brilliant writing today. But what would you tell somebody who wants to go to the Ozarks and investigate there? I have to say, it doesn't sound like the safest place to go and watch for aliens or ghosts.
It's a wonderful place. All you have to really do is come to some of these old towns, and they'll welcome you, and you can find some place and sit down at one night, and you'll see things. You'll see little stars in the skies that don't seem to fit right, and it's something that is everywhere. You'll find something, and coming to Eureka Springs, you'll find a lot of supernatural. They have supernatural tours that you can go on. They'll take down to the old jail, the Crescent Hotel, many different locations.
Oh, that's great.
So there's a lot of opportunity to experience the unknown and the supernatural world.
Now, what about your other book, The Ancient Ozarks, and the caves and what they found in the caves? Can you talk to us a little bit about that too?
Well, that basically, I'll try to keep it as brief as possible because I want people to buy the book and read what's in it. But a lot of it talks about the petroglyphs, how there's petroglyphs that look like extraterrestrials, others that look like Sasquatch. I talk about the bones that are found in some of these caves. I talk about the Paleo-Indian remains, the archaic Indian remains, the more recent, how for thousands of years these artifacts have been piling up, and how there's legends that within the caves there's portals to underground realms that not only have links to the American Southwest, but through these portals, you can even go to Shambhala or Gartha on the other side of the world.
Oh my gosh.
That seems incredible.
Fabulous. Yeah. Now they should have a tour that takes you through that.
Yeah. I go to one of the bluffs I like to go to is right here at Lost Valley. In
Uh-huh.
fact, I have a picture of that, supposed to be published sometime soon in Fate magazine. I'm still waiting for them to put it up there, but they're pretty confident they're going to do it. It's got me in a picture in there in my hunting gear with a rifle, standing right behind the entrance. And then it has pictures of us in the cave system with me and Todd Neese and his wife taking pictures and going and investigating the bluff.
Oh, nice. Now, what Native American tribes are there?
Well, there's the Osage primarily, the Cherokee, and several others.
Mm-hmm. Do they still have a tribal community there or no?
Well, it's not as strong here because a lot of them, were moved during the Trail Tears because of Jackson and the Indian Removal Act when they were moved through here out west. So a lot of those populations were moved, but there's still a lot of people who have remained secretly and those who have returned now that they can return and have resettled. And they're very interesting people. And the Suchas were one of those types. And I can't, it's been years. I was a young man. I was just a young boy. But I believe they were Osage, and they had a lot of interesting stories, which they love to tell. And you can sit by the hours and hear them and go into this.
Lovely. How nice. Great to have people like that nearby. So what do you have pug wedgies out there? We have them here at the Bridgewater Triangle, those little creatures that try to lure you away. They're called pug wedgies. Do you have them?
Like leprechauns.
Okay, you have leprechauns. And they're known to do that sometimes too, yes?
Yeah, and I kind of agree with Stanton Friedman. He used to always say he thought they were just a euphemism for gray aliens. Because, they're small, little, grayish.
They are small, but they wore clothes. And mischievous ways.
The way you look at it, that could be just the Irish looking through the lens of their own culture, kind of adorning them with Irish-like dress. Or it's like kind of like how when J.R. Tolkien conceived his world, he made the hobbits look like little English countrymen that he encountered growing up.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Now, what about the Fae, the fairies? Have there been reports of that in your area?
No, there's not many reports of fairies, although I do know that Fritz Zimmerman was talking about it on Facebook regarding Ohio, and I looked it up, did some research, and posted my own article about it on ancientozarks.com. Did a follow-up article based on his post.
So in your impression with Bigfoot, let's go back to all these sightings that took place in Ohio. And this was right before the meteor or asteroid or whatever it was went flying through the sky. Do you think there's a link there? I do.
I have no opinion about that. I'm not really aware of any of that. So you got me there.
I think there is some type of connection that all of a sudden these Bigfoot were showing up in this area. And then the meteor, asteroid, whatever, came through the sky with pieces of it landing in that area, that same area. So knowing what I know about the elders that I studied with, the Native American elders that I knew, they always said, if you want to know what's going on in the world, watch the animals. They will tell you.
That's very interesting, and that's probably very true because they seem to have a sixth sense.
Yes.
They anticipate things before humans are aware of them.
It's
like a dog will always know a good person from a bad person without you. I had a girlfriend, and she was very bad on drugs, and she had a dog, and that dog was always scared of her. That dog always knew she was unstable even before I did. and it would never obey her commands. It would never go anywhere near her. But whenever I was around, it always wanted to come to me, wanted to lay by me, wanted to hug me. Very different with me than it was with her.
Yes. Well, there were a lot of animal predictions right before 9/11 with a lot of shark sightings, places where they normally wouldn't be. So there was that. And then there was, when Jimmy Carter was president, he was out on a lake with the Secret Service with him in the boat. And all of a sudden, this rabbit jumped into the water and jumped into the boat, tried to attack them. And I remember Slow Turtle, a Wampanoag Native American elder here and medicine man, said that rabbit was trying to tell him, you're about to be attacked by someone you do not expect. And that's when those people were kidnapped. I don't know if it was Iran or Iraq or somebody. Yeah. They kidnapped our people, and it was right after that happened.
Now, just a story I saw. This is even more interesting. And I saw this on television. I can't remember which show it was. But there was an incident where a woman was swimming with a whale. And the whale started coming at her and lifted her up until she was ready to get back on the boat. 2 minutes later, she saw a great white shark.
Yeah, that would have been it for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the whale got her out of the water in time to save her life.
Amazing.
And amazing what a whale will do for a human being and how humans have treated whales.
I know, isn't it disgusting? I mean, every animal.
I mean, why would a whale want to help a human being after what we've done?
Exactly.
Good point.
And elephants, same way. I mean, you see it all the time where these amazing stories when an elephant will go and visit someone, go miles and miles to pay respect to someone who just died, who took care of them or rescued them or whatever. It's so heart-wrenching to know how evil humans can be. But certainly, I mean, Native Americans have always said every animal knows more than we do. And that's the truth. Absolutely the truth. And I know Bigfoot, although I don't consider Bigfoot or skunk ape or whatever we call them an animal, they know more than we do, no doubt. But if they are being seen, it's because they want to be seen. They don't need to be seen by us. But if it's happening, it's because they want it to happen. So that's the message. It's always a message. So, gosh, well, you have grown up and still live in a very curious part of the world.
Definitely.
Yes, it is.
How fascinating.
And it's all there on my website. So I would recommend everyone go there. And it's not just ancient Ozarks. I cover a lot of different things from a lot of different parts of the world, a lot of different phenomena. I have even some science fiction stories on there that I wrote, some fiction, some short stories.
Let me ask this question, because I know we're going to get more questions about this after the show ends.
Yes.
This crop circle.
I knew you were going to bring that.
Knew I was going to come back to that, right? How could I not? Who is telling these stories? Who is coming to you and saying, hey, this is happening? Who are these people?
Now, would it be fair to give you my sources?
Oh, I'm not asking for a name.
In case you were, he's not telling you.
Farmer? Is it a regular person who's just saying, hey, this is happening and they're like farming in the area?
It's just general knowledge from people you meet, places like the general store,
just everyday people.
Maybe Todd knows a little bit about it and has told me some stories. There's different people in different areas of Harrison that you're going around. They're telling these stories and you hear them.
And so you hear there's human DNA and you're hearing there's actual like faces
coming out of the corn stalks. And, I was blown away when I heard that, but it was something I had to include in my book because I said it's priceless.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's amazing. And I want pictures. We want, what they say about pictures. We got to get the pictures. So you're going to have to like maybe surreptitiously follow some of these people back to these fields.
Right.
Like you're the FBI. Yeah, like you're the FBI, and then you got to take the pictures. you would have a wide following.
Yeah.
Or you could
And
give
then
us a picture or video or something. You know how we are. We love to see stuff. But that is what will remain the most incredible thing I think that was ever said on this show, is that.
Mhm.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
It's wild. What a wild life you have. But you found a way, FK, which is quite remarkable, to talk to all of us about it. And it's so entertaining, but it's also so intriguing.
Definitely.
Makes me want to go to the Ozarks and check it out too. But congratulations on your many books. And yes, Alien Harvest, that's what we've been talking about tonight. The Ozark Connection, Ancient Ozarks, we've talked a little bit about tonight. You're going to have to buy that one, both of them. And In Search of Giants, we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
That was a fun show. If you missed it, you guys go back and listen to it.
Definitely.
It's great. And there is The Gathering, Squatching at the Gap.
Yes.
You want to go out and join the crew. Looks like a fun group.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds
I'm
good.
also going to be doing a book signing at the Cave Region Review Festival on April 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the U of A North Arc campus in Harrison on Pioneer Street. So I'll be there as well, selling books and signing copies, and
Mhm.
going to be there. So
Sounds
How
great.
long is this gathering, Squatching at the Gap? How many days?
2 days.
2 days. Okay, good. So
Yeah.
people can come and stay overnight if they need to. There's hotels
Yes,
there.
it's gonna be. There are hotels there, right on site. There's sites for
Need to have
camping,
hotels.
campers. You can bring your camping.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Put up
okay.
tents. You can bring motor homes. We have cabins that are that you can rent by the night.
Okay.
So we have everything right there on site. We have food areas, so you don't have to go anywhere for food.
Oh,
We have
that's
both
good.
food vendors and restaurants right there as a resort that provide food. So general store that you can go to that has games and things to keep your mind busy, and if you have kids, your kids busy. So it's gonna be a great event. There's gonna be a lot there. We're gonna have top Bigfoot specialists speaking. Hopefully I'm gonna speak. The owner is a little hesitant on getting as many people as we have booked, but hopefully he'll let that fly. If not, at least I'll be doing a book signing and all that. So either way, I'll be there, and
Wonderful.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope to see everybody there.
Sounds fabulous.
It does. It sounds like it's going to be a great event. And again, congratulations on your new books. This is wonderful. So thank you. And we're waiting for the pictures. Just remember that. And
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
we'll post them. But anyways, we are just having so much fun, but we're going to have to end the show. And Amanda, before we do, can you put the books up one more time so people can remember to buy them? Alien Harvest, The Ozark Connection,
Right.
and Ancient Ozarks. And the one from a couple weeks ago also, we have Search of Giants. 3.
And they're also available as an audiobook on Audible.
Oh, good to know.
If you don't like to read,
All
you can.
3 of them.
All of them are on Audible.
Excellent.
So you can go there and get them. Terrific, FK. Thanks again. And we will be back next week with another great show. Until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Night.